Have you ever asked the question, is there a relationship between science and the Bible?
Is modern science based on the body, soul, and spirit?
There is a direct relationship between science and the Bible.
But the question really is it Newtonian science or quantum science? And by that, I mean, we have understood Newtonian science because back in the 16th century, we had Sir Isaac Newton, who brought forth science that we know today called Newtonian science. But it is based on the physical only, leaving out the spiritual and the soul aspect of that.
Well, right there we have a problem. Because the Bible addresses the whole person.
The whole person is body, soul, and spirit. And so there was this discussion that happened in the 16th and 17th century. Sir Isaac Newton wanted to discover how the planets rotated around the sun and define a formula that became based on the height times the width times the length, and it became predictable. And yet the church, who was in charge of the social system at the time and the spiritual system at the time, started calling him a heretic. And they said, these are lies. This is not true, because it became very predictable. And we know that out of that scientific experiment that he did, that now he could predict the rotation of the moon around the earth and the earth around the sun, and came up with these predictable measurements.
So Newtonian science says this: only what we experience with our senses, what we see, what we feel, what we hear, what we taste, touch, is real. Well, right away, that is disturbing to me, because that means all we have access to know what's real, is what exists in this earth. So it opens up the doorway to ask an important question. Well, isn't there a place called heaven? Isn't there more to this universe than just the reality of the earth? Newton would say no, but the quantum world would say yes. So in the quantum world, what we understand is that everything already exists. In the Newtonian world, it's what we create. So it comes down to this: the laws of attraction, which is the quantum world, are the laws of assertion. One is a lot of work and a lot of effort and a time span. And the other one, the quantum world, is about if I observe it and my thoughts and my feelings align, it will manifest, because it's energy.
It's interesting when you get into the two different kinds of sciences, because Newtonian science then based everything upon a formula which became very predictable. And we have lived our lives in the predictable. And when you get outside of that box, and you get into the unfamiliar and it's no longer predictable, that's where we start having our problems. And that's why we're continually moving back to what we do know, what we have had, not what we have and want and desire. And so we haven't been able to reach into the future and pull that into the present, because we're still living in the predictable past.
I just love that. So the quantum realm says this, that all possibilities for a desire, a dream, a problem exist, from the worst possible outcome to the greatest outcome, and every increment in between. So what manifests to us? Well, this is important. What you give your thoughts and feelings to is what manifests. So let's say we have a problem in life, like a normal everyday problem. I need to pay the bills and there's not enough in here for the bills and, everyday living, and there's shortage there. Well, the more I align with I don't have enough, I don't have enough, I don't have enough, that thought, even if it's a reality, then my feelings, because feelings follow the thought, now I have that. Guess from the quantum realm, what is the outcome that I'm going to get? Only what my thoughts and feelings are aligned with. But what if I'm sitting there and I'm a realist, here's the reality, looks like that there's not the amount that my greatest dreams hold, let's just say, and I then align my thoughts and feelings with the truth from Scripture or the realm of heaven, where it says that we have access to all of His riches in Messiah Yeshua.
We have great evidences of this in Scripture. Yeshua was amongst the people. The people were diseased. They were sick. They were laden with burdens. And what did He say? I only do what I see my Father do. In other words, His gaze was not upon their sickness or upon their poorness or their disease. He was watching His Father. This is why He wasn't caught up in the emotions or in the physical realm, because He kept His eyes focused upon that spiritual realm, and He knew and could perform in this physical realm. Spiritual realm, and He knew and could perform in this physical realm.
The same thing happened with the story of the fishes and the loaves. Here are all these people, over 5,000, that have come out in the heat of the day to listen to Him teach. And He knows that they're hungry. And they came up and said, we've got to feed the people, Lord. And He says, well, bring me your fishes and bread. And there were only a few fish and a few loaves of bread. What happens right there? He doesn't align with the lack that's in the basket.
That's good.
But He knows He's been created to be a co-creator. And so in the realm of heaven, is there a lack of any kind? No. Yeshua accesses through the quantum explanation of quantum science, the realm of heaven where all things are possible. And as He feels and sees or thinks about the reality of heaven, that there's no lack, that all needs have already been provided for, guess what shows up in those baskets?
Yes.
It is.
And so it's not a predictable formula of Newtonian science that we take this multiplied by this, and get this outcome. In other words, we open up our gaze to the answer of all things are possible. So we have our dream, we have our question, we have our desire right here, and we hold it in front and say, which is the best outcome for what I am holding right here? And like when the rain falls on the earth and it's coming down a mountain, the course that it takes down the mountain is the course of least resistance. In other words, as it's raining and that rain is running down the mountain, if it comes to a rock, it goes around the rock in the least resisted way. That's how we begin to allow the answer to come, with the least resistance.
And what is resistance? It is aligning more with this reality right here in the earth instead of the reality of what's already been given to you and I through the love of God for you and I. Well, I think this is important. Listen, if this is meaningful to you and it's helping you, would you just put some comments in the box there? And are you ready now to begin to manifest your dreams with ease and joy? If so, can't wait to share this next video with you.